begin tonight with developing news on a hunting tragedy in Westport we first told you about on Eyewitness News at noon. 2 men are dead and a third in the hospital after their boat capsized in frigid waters during an early morning duck hunting trip. And we just learned their names in the last 90 minutes. The deceased have been identified as 53-year-old Stephen James of Marshfield, Massachusetts, and 55-year-old Robert Betcher of Cromwell, Connecticut. The lone survivor is 51-year-old Greg Angel of Westport, and we're told he is expected to be okay. Now, he was pulled to safety by the Coast Guard around 11 o'clock this morning. This is video just into our newsroom of the rescue. Angel was then flown to Rhode Island Hospital by helicopter, where he's now being treated for hypothermia. Eyewitness News reporter Sean Daly has been working this story all day long. He joins us now live in Westport with the developing details.
We're here in Westport Harbor, near where the Westport River meets the Atlantic Ocean. Not far from here, 2 men were killed today when their small boat capsized, and a third man is recovering tonight at Rhode Island Hospital, where he's expected to recover. On one of the coldest days in years, 3 men in their 50s went out in a small skiff to go duck hunting in the Westport River. Around 8 a.m., a resident saw this boat upside down and called the Westport Harbor Master. He set in motion a search and rescue operation that quickly turned into a recovery operation for 2 of the 3 men.
The first 2 victims came ashore on what we call Horseneck Point, Oceanside, at the mouth, and the Westport PD and the Highway Department, I believe, retrieved those 2. And then the helicopter was on scene. They got a guy off Corey's Island, the 3rd victim.
The timing was terrible. The air and the water were both frigid, and the waves were choppy because the tide and the wind were heading into each other.
This morning, with the outgoing tide, you get wind against the current, and now the waves, instead of being a foot high, go to 3 feet high.
Westport's harbor master is grateful all 3 men were found.
For the families involved, the fact that we got 3 out of 3 back, you know, and maybe one will survive. It gives them, they'll be able to have closure. But sometimes the ocean just swallows people up. We've had fishermen out of here that we still haven't found that have gone down lobstering it.
Westport's harbor master says boaters don't just put themselves at risk when they go out, they also put their rescuers at risk as well if trouble develops. We'll talk to the harbor master about that, new at 6, and we'll also talk to residents here in Westport about this awful tragedy. Live in Westport with the Southeastern Massachusetts Mobile Newsroom, Sean Daly, Eyewitness News.